All right, hello. Today we're going to cover practice sets in Google Classroom. My name is Marissa Lopez. I'm an MIC Instructional Technology Coordinator, and I'm going to have Sherry go through our commercials for us.
Good afternoon. So I am Sherry Marks. I'm also an instructional techno. Josh, please mute yourself. My name is Sherry Marks. I am also an instructional technology coordinator. With us today, we have Isabel Espinoza, who is our director of technology integration. Marissa has already introduced herself, and I've already kind of introduced Josh Boyles whenever his mic was unmuted, but he is also an instructional technology today, or instructional technology coordinator today.
Hello.
um, and not here with us today, we also have Alexandra Behill, and she is an MISC computer tech who helps us out. If you haven't already done so, please follow us on X. We are at Midland ISD Tech. This is where you can see what we're doing around the district, as well as all the upcoming Tech Tuesdays and what's going on. And then we have an instructional technology newsletter that Josh sends out monthly. You can subscribe by scanning that QR code. And I think this month's newsletter is going to be focused on a little bit of AI. Not 100% sure. Josh, is it going to be focused on AI? Okay. So if you want to know more about AI, please feel free to scan that QR code and subscribe. And lastly, if you are here, you will get credit in Eduphoria. So you'll get SPEC and CPE credit in Eduphoria. I'll go ahead and do that right now. But thank you for joining us today.
Okay, so we're going to talk about practice sets and what are they? If you've ever used a Google form, it's essentially similar. The thing that makes practice sets, I think, a little bit better is that while the students are answering questions, they have supports available while they're answering questions. So this is an opportunity for students to check their work, check to see if they're correct. Also, they get AI created resources that are pulled from different places so that the student can look at these different tips while they're answering questions if they get things wrong. You don't have to add these resources. You can, though. So if you just create any type of question, Google actually has that little AI tool that helps generate some tips for them while they're answering questions. So it's kind of a little time saver for you, but it's also great because you can't be in all places at once. So it lets the students get and help from someone else besides you. And how to get started, I'm going to go through the presentation kind of to give you a little way of looking at everything we're going to look at, and then we'll go live and show you in real time what it looks like. So to access this will come in your Google Classroom. You will have to go and start in your waffle, and then you if you don't have this Google Classroom right under your account, just kind of scroll until you find Google Classroom. And before even going to any of your courses, you will see this resources on the left, and you can click on resources, and then that's where you will see your practice set. So you don't even have to go into any of your courses. It's just as soon as you open Google Classroom, it's going to be there on the left. Okay, once you click on the new practice set, it's going to allow you to change the title. You just click on the box and change the title. You're going to have some options here in this gear setting. You can share anything that you've made with other teachers. So it'll generate a link for you, and then you can share it with other teachers, and then they can assign this to their students. The cool thing is that you can actually look at your practice set at the end and view it as a student or view it along the way to see how it's looking. Here is if you want to generate some additional resources for the students, and maybe you want to add a PDF for them to look at while they're answering this question. This one kind of gets generated on its own. So if the student's needing help, they click on extra help, and it'll actually show them either a video or a tutorial or a little infographic that gives them really good tips on how to answer this type of question. Here, if you're a math teacher, you're going to really love this little math tool. And we're going to also include this little keyboard shortcut while you're, well, it's in the chat right now, but this kind of gives you a little shortcuts on different math tools. So if you want to look at this or share this with somebody, but it's just a really good resource for math teachers because sometimes you want to type a certain math symbol and you're not able to. So this kind of gives you some little tips on how to do that. Okay. And here, this resource, so let's say you're working on, which today we're going to look at adding and subtracting decimals. If that's your main TEK for the day or for this lesson, just type it in. Sometimes this resource gets generated automatically by just viewing the type of question you've started. But if you can use the resources that they automatically put for you or type in your own. And of course, you can make more questions. You can add some text information here. And then this one allows you to take questions from Google Forms or PDFs and import them into your practice set. Okay, so we are going to look at the different types of questions that you can make in a practice set. You do have your short answer, a paragraph, single select, which is your normal ABC choice. And then this one I really like because it's more of your star level 2.0 question where they're able to select more than one answer choice. So on star now, it's like select the 2 options that are correct. So giving the students this ability is actually helping them practice and knowing that there's sometimes more than one answer. So that's going to be the multi-select. Okay, and here's the options that you get from the little settings gear when you're creating a practice set. I like this because if you're a math teacher and your students answer 1/4 or 0.25, if you check this box, it'll count both of those correct. So either one. For English teachers or anyone else, just ignoring capitalization, you just want to know if they got the correct answer. If you check that box, it will still count it right even if they didn't capitalize something. Okay. We're going to actually go into this import feature. So I will show you what that looks like here live. And I do want to show you on top of this Google Classroom, I know we're talking about Google Classroom and practice sets, but sometimes we get stuck generating our own questions. And maybe we have a textbook that has questions for us, but there's only so many. And especially I remember being a math teacher, you would run out of the resources and then you have to start making your own. I do want to share with you a way to generate additional questions using your TEKS resources and then also using Magic School AI, which is a really great tool that we promote here in Midland ISD on. It's just a really good program to help you generate more questions. So using your readiness standards and using Magic School AI to help you generate more questions so that you can copy and paste those into your practice set. Okay, once you're ready to assign, and we're going to kind of go over this again when we go live, you'll actually go into your course. You're going to go into classwork. You're going to click create, and then you'll choose assignment. Okay, after that, that's when you'll actually be able to see this practice set. You'll choose practice set, and then it'll have all the ones you've ever made, or you can start making one. Okay, you just, it'll look like this, and then you just finish adding all of who you want to assign it to, your due dates, and so forth. Okay, and then the most important part is you do have to click this attach. Otherwise, your practice set does not get attached to your assignment in Google Classroom. And once you click assign, you still have that option to view as a student, try it out as a student to see what it's going to look like. So I want to show you that when we go live as well, because it's got some great tools for the students. And of course, here are those extra resources that they get while they're taking the little quiz. They actually get this little notepad. They can have a graph paper or just this dot paper. Once your students have turned in the work, you're going to get some really great insights and feedback. You can click on each student individually to see how they did. But my favorite thing is that it gives you this insight summary without you having to go through every single assessment, see how many students missed a certain kind of question. This is basically telling you what's really important feedback for you as a teacher. So 8 students are getting this question wrong. That means that that particular question needs to be revisited. Here it's showing you how many students struggled with this whole assignment overall. So you may need to pull a small group. And then of course you get the overall view. And because this is a practice set and they're just practicing, it kind of tells you as well how many attempts they took per question. Okay, so now we're actually going to go live. And we're going to start from the beginning. Okay, so when you go to just like a web page in Chrome, you're going to go to your waffle and then select your classroom. Okay, and before I even open any of my courses, like I said, it's just going to be right here where it says resources new. I'm going to click on that. And you can start from scratch and make a new practice set. Okay, here you're going to click here, double click to change the name. So I was a 4th grade math teacher, so I know adding and subtracting decimals was always a little tricky for students. And here is where you get to choose what type of questions you want. So I want single select, and I'm just going to start with 1.1 plus 1.01. And already they're helping you create the practice set by giving you suggestions. Okay. And so you go ahead and select the correct answer. Here it's giving you skills, and you're going to click see suggested. So here it's trying to read what kind of question this is. Maybe if I put an equal sign or something here, you're going to click on see suggested. But if you're thinking, no, this is not really what we're doing, then you're just going to type in add and subtract decimals. So now AI is generating those resources for me. So what you'll notice is when you're checking this out as a student, it's going to give the students a little infographic that will help them answer questions on adding and subtracting decimals just by adding this little skill here. Okay, now I can add another question here or import from a Google form. So I'm going to click on import. And this Google form that I have is with the assistance of Magic School AI, which I'll show you how to do that as well. But I already have it created. So I'm going to click import. And all of the questions that are related to adding and subtracting decimals that I already had, instead of just giving them the assessment, I actually want to put it in a practice set so that the students have additional support while taking it. Okay. So that way, instead of just getting a right or wrong answer, they'll get some support while they're taking it. So now if I wanted to share this with another teacher, I would click share. Okay, turn this on and it's going to give me a link that I can copy and send out to another teacher. And I want to show you what it looks like as a student. Okay, so here's the student view. So they're going to get a little pen that they can use to mark up their questions, an eraser. They're going to get to be able to check their work. So let's say they click check, they think it's 1.11 and it tells them they're wrong. This little blinker starts to blink to tell them, okay, you might need some help. So they're going to show a hint, and here's that little tool that I didn't add. It kind of was generated for me to support the students. Okay, so now I know I might have to show my work. It's going to give them that option of a different graph paper that they can use to show their work. Okay, and then you can click dismiss. There's also this extra help. So here it also added a video on adding and subtracting decimals that I didn't add myself, but because of that skill that I added, it was able to add this video. So they may need to watch this little video. If you don't like the video that it gives them, you can add the video yourself instead. Okay. And now I want to show you, let's say you're trying to come up with more questions, but you're thinking, well, I ran out of all the questions from the book, but I still need some more questions. Here is your TEKS resource page or your website. And I know my students are working on adding and subtracting decimals, so I want to focus on this TEK. So I would click on that TEAG, and then I'm going to copy this standard. And then I'm going to go over to Magic School AI, which is another resource that we use here. And I want to generate some additional questions. So I'm going to click on multiple choice quiz. And here it knows I'm working with 4th grade. I need 5 questions, and I want to paste my standard in. But you can say to give you word problems, because it's going to just generate adding and subtracting decimal questions. So notice here, you might want something a little more rigorous. You might say, create 3 word problems. And now you have some word problems with the standard of adding and subtracting decimals that you can copy and paste into your practice set. So you'll have more questions available to you to use when you're creating. Okay. All right, and so now we're going to go into how to assign this. So let's say you are done adding the questions you want. You're going to click Done Editing. Okay, now I'm going to go to my classroom, and I'm going to go to a course. So let's say your math course. I'm going to toggle to classwork, click Create, and we're going to go to Assignment. You're going to give it a title. And then here's where you're going to see practice set. So you're going to click on that, and then you're going to choose the one that you want to assign. And even when you're here, it still is going to give you the option to edit, to try it out and make sure everything's ready. But if you do want to choose this one, you do have to click Attach. So I'm going to click Attach. Okay, so here it is. And then you can assign it to all your students or a few students. You change the due date. You can put it under a certain topic. And then when you're ready, you click Assign. Okay. And once your students have turned it in, then you can click on here to review the work, and then you'll get that feedback, those insights that give you more information on what type of questions the students were struggling with. Right now, I don't have the students taking the quiz, but that's kind of how you would assign it. Okay, so here you would see all of your students, how many questions they got correct, and then it'll generate some insights for you here. Okay. Go. Okay, so this is kind of what it will look like once you have that feedback. And really, if you have any questions about what we've gone over, I mean, we included the presentation in the chat, but if you have questions about how to use that Magic School AI to generate more questions, or you have questions about how to do the importing from Google Forms, or anything about practice sets, you can email us at iTechHelp so that we can help you make a really great one for your students, because really they're meant for students to practice with. So this is something that they're going to be able to check their work, check to see if they're right, be able to use resources that either you add for them to view and watch as they're answering questions, or allow the AI portion of the Google to generate some resources for you. So really it's just a way for you to be in many places at once, because every student would have their hand up asking for resources. But if you give them to them ahead of time, it'll kind of help you and then help them learn as they're going. And is there any questions so far? You know, it's kind of really fast. Well, if you don't have any questions, we will stick around after this, but we appreciate you joining us, whether it's live or later on through the video. But we look forward to you making your practice sets, and that your students will receive these tools. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice.